Hello and welcome to the pre-show of the first T20I between Australia and India. The way the multi-format series looks like is Australia are at 6 points and India are at 4. Will India be able to get those 2 points, equal up the series? That is what that needs to be looked into. We have our experts Ananya Upendran and Kalyani who have joined us. Ananya, you were not there on the pre-show. Tell us what should we look into from the T20I series after what India did, starting the second ODI.
I think to start off with, everyone's been talking about how the momentum is in India's favor, considering the way they came back after that first ODI. They bounced back wonderfully with the bat in the second ODI, and finally found some points in that third ODI. They dominated the pink ball test, something that a lot of us didn't expect them to, at least going into that test match. So it'll be interesting to see whether they're able to carry that momentum into this T20I series. It is a completely different format. They're playing the world champions, 5-time world champions, a team that really knows how to win in T20 cricket. They are, of course, without two of their best bowlers, and I think two of the bowlers who did the most damage in the T20 World Cup final the last time these sides played. So it'll be interesting to see whether India can carry that momentum into this T20. I think with the bat they may be able to, but for me, what's going to be the biggest test for India is how they get up with the ball, because we saw in the start of the series it was Julian Goswami who was carrying the attack. So who they bring in to kind of fill that void, whether Shikha Pandey finally gets a game, I'm really keen to see.
That was my next question, that a large part of that momentum was Julian Goswami. She was the reason for the second ODI, third ODI, and then the pink ball test. She's not there. Clearly, Shikha Pandey looks a lot not in favor, is what we'll call. Who do you think, there is still time for the toss, who do you think is making that debut today?
So I'm not sure who's going to make the debut. I do feel like India need to bring in Shikha Pandey just to fill that void. And that's largely because India don't have a death bowler, in this T20 format. You look at someone like Meghna Singh, Renuka Thakur, two potential debutants, very good with the new ball, but not death bowlers. Shikha Pandey, on the other hand, very experienced, has closed out T20 games for India. She did it in the T20 World Cup. She did it in the home series against South Africa back in 2019. So she is someone who knows how to deal with that pressure in the back end of the innings. And against a very good T20 side, I think you need a good death bowler. So I just hope that India bring in Shikha Pandey just for the experience factor. I mean, the way Meghna has bowled through this tour, you feel like she's going to get a debut. But again, for me, the question will be, how did she pull up after that test match? She's bowled a lot more than she normally does. In domestic cricket, it's just 10 overs where they get a bit of rest. So, how she's pulled up after that test match is a question. But I feel that, she should potentially get her debut cap, and someone like Yastika Bhatia as well could potentially be in line for a debut.
So Ananya would want Shikha Pandey to return to the side, but as well as hand over the debuts to Meghna Singh and Yastika Bhatia for their performances. Kalyani, over to you. You've already mentioned that you see that Darlington and McGrath would be making their debut sometime during the series, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But starting off, the head-to-head as it looks in Australia, there have been 9 matches that have been played. 5 of them have been won by Australia, but 4 have been won by India. Do you see that happening to 5? You've already won a blue jersey. Looks like you're supporting India today. Do you see that happening, that, okay, let's equal it out 5-5 and then play the T20I series?
And let me be perfectly honest, I might am just trying to jinx them by wearing a blue jersey, but let's not go there. I think, as I said yesterday, this Indian unit has been one of those units that has troubled Australia most. Even when England and South Africa at their prime, they came close to beating Australia multiple times. But it has been this Indian unit that has troubled them. And I think since 2015, since appointment of Matthew Mott as a head coach, the scars of his Australian side are few, but they are deep. So the losses that have happened are at the very high level. In 2016 final, 2017 semi-final, league round in 2018, league match in 2020. So this Indian team has the capacity to do it. So I mean, if it is if India wins today, it will become 6-6. Why not? Let's go to final two match, everything on the line. Let's see how both sides come up in this situation.
So Kalyani clearly wants to support India just to make it more competitive, is what it looks like. We've yet to get a news. Okay, the news is just out. Australia have won the toss and they're opting to bowl first. Ananya, over to you. There will be a lot of dew factor. Is that the sensible decision to make?
I definitely feel like, we saw the dew set in even in the test match. So I feel like it was kind of an obvious choice that the team that wins the toss would opt to bowl first. Get, I suppose, the best use of the conditions with the ball. Want it to be wet and slipping out of your hands. So I think there'll be dew in both innings. It'll just probably be worse in the second innings. And if India have to defend the total, it kind of takes their spinners out of the equation. They're not going to turn the ball, even if it's a slow track. So I think for Australia, on those terms, they probably started off well, like they did in the test match. They won the toss, opted to bowl. Didn't quite work for them. So India will be hoping that, they can just carry that on, I suppose.
And whatever we predicted yesterday, for India, Yastika Bhatia is making her debut, as is Renuka Singh Thakur. For Australia, Hannah Darlington and Talia Magra both are making their debuts.
This is, I mean, Meg Lanning winning toss. What is happening? Why is Meg Lanning winning so much toss? It's beyond me. The person who has like no luck with toss is suddenly winning these many toss. So I think just from Australian understanding, I just hope this is not Sydney Showground 2.0 and they actually get to make use of whatever the conditions are right now. And as I pointed out yesterday, balance has been the buzzword for them since 2017 T20I series because they suffered going into the T20 series. They had their best side and they suffered because of it. And because they didn't have the balance side. So balance has been the focus. And Tyler Magra has been exceptionally good throughout the WBBL as well. Took them to the WBBL 5 finals. She was part of that squad and team who performed well. And with Hannah Darlington, as I said yesterday, future is HD, future is high definition and Hannah Darlington. So I hope she makes most of her opportunities today.
And so is the return of Tyler Wilming. So Australia's 11 looks like it's going to be Healy and Mooney to open. Meg Lanning at 3, Gardner at 4, Ellis Perry, Talia Magra, Nicola Carey, Molyneux, Wareham, Darlington, and Wilming. So basically they are resting Darcy Brown, Stella Campbell, and as well as Mrs. Out is Annabelle Sutherland. Ananya, your thoughts on that 11?
Yeah, well, I think after the test match, you expected that the two tearaway quicks would be rested. I know they didn't bowl as much as we expected them to, but, it was their first experience playing long format cricket. Australia have been very clear that they're not going to wear out their bowlers, are not going to be able to play their best 11 through the series all the time. So I guess it was expected that I thought one of them would be rested, but hey, this is T20 cricket. Like Kalyani said, Hannah Darlington has kind of made this format her own. She's done exceptionally well in the WBBL. Again, shown nerves of steel, bowls very, very well in the death. And I think that's something that Australia has, with the loss of Megan Shute and Delissa Kimmins, you kind of need someone to bowl those overs. They have Nicola Carey. They would have needed someone at the other end. I know Sophie Molyneux did a decent job in the ODI series, but if you have both Carey and Hannah Darlington, you have two specialist death bowlers there, so they can close out the innings very well. I'm very, very excited to see her. I mean, she had an exceptional ODI debut. Didn't follow it up too well, but again, T20 cricket's a format she's used to. very, very good in the field, handy batter as well. So I'm really excited. Also very excited to see Taylor Willemich back. I feel like she caused a lot of problems in that tri-series. India kind of didn't enjoy that extra pace. They didn't enjoy the lines she was bowling, and something that's, I think, been some sort of, well, not her downfall exactly, but something that, she's not very consistent. She's slightly erratic, not quite like Darcy Brown. She's got a slightly unorthodox action, so it means she's much more difficult to pick up. The pace is even more awkward. So I think that's something that India did speak about, how she is much more difficult to face than someone like Darcy Brown, even though Brown is a little quicker than her. So I feel like she could cause a few problems. Plus, having sat out through the series, watching her or watching the other seamers do well, I'm sure she'll be raring to go and keen to hit a few batters, I suppose.
That's basically 10 batters or all-rounders playing plus Stella Willemich. Willemich definitely does a lot with the ball. When it comes to India, I think so. Harman has listened to you, Ananya. Shikha Pandey is playing, as is debutant Renuka Singh Thakur and Pooja Vastrakar. So basically 3 pacers in there. There's Deepti Sharma and Rajeshwari Gaikwad with the spin, as well as Jemima Rodriguez returns at number 3. Kalyani, you start first. What do you think about this Indian lineup now?
First of all, I'm so happy to see Shikha Pandey back, because after sitting out throughout this, like, she didn't play in first 3 matches, even when the conditions were such, like, she would have enjoyed bowling in those conditions, and also in the test, which feels like the format is made for her and she couldn't make the 11. Now she's back, and after watching what she was able to do in England throughout the series, I think this is the right platform for her. And also, as we talked about the void left by Jhulan Goswami, especially in this T20 group, I think going ahead, as was mentioned by Mithali Raj also in the press conferences, they want to have that pace bowling unit ahead of the World Cup. And even if it is another format, even if it is they'll get limited overs to exploit their talents, this is the right time to kind of make sure that how well you go against some of the best batters in the world, which you will eventually face in 4 or 5 months' time. So go. And Shikha Pandey is that anchor, as I said. Given the example of Elise Perry in Australian unit, you can rotate in experience around her when you know she can handle one side of the equation very well. So very good to see Shikha Pandey back in the mix.
Ananya, do you feel this is the best India 11 they could have put up? Meghna Singh definitely is resting after that ODIs and Test. They've got an experienced pro because Jhulan led the entire ODIs and Test. They've got an experienced pro in Shikha filling up that first pacers slot, and then Pooja and Renuka Thakur to assist her, as well as Jemima Rodriguez returns to that particular 11. Harleen Deol misses out, and as well as Yastika Bhatia, who's done pretty well, makes a case in that 11.
Look, if you were to ask me, is this India's best 11? I'm not quite sure, because I feel like Sneha Rana should walk into India's best 11. So I'm still not convinced of Deepti Sharma as a T20 player. I know her numbers are great, but again, I think if you were to compare Rana with Deepti just purely as T20 players, I think Sneha Rana kind of fits in. Is a better fit because they have very similar skills with the ball. With the bat, Sneha Rana is a much more attacking player. So I would have loved to see her in the 11. And also she did win or help win that third ODI. So she kind of does very well under pressure. So she knows what to do in those situations. Number 6, 7, where she bats for Railway. So best 11, Sneha Rana would have been in. But I do feel like it looks like a good side. I'm a little surprised by Renuka Singh making her debut. I mean, I guess Meghna Singh probably didn't pull up as well as India would have wanted, and handing a debut to a young bowler who's been watching her peers do very well. She will definitely have her confidence high. So it's nice to see, but I think it will be interesting to have Shikha Pandey one end, Renuka Singh the other, and both in swingers. And as a senior bowler, I'm sure Shikha Pandey will take that in swingers end, as is her right to. So, how she will then go bowling against the wind is something I'm keen to see. There probably won't be the best conditions. She is a genuine swing bowler, not someone who's very quick. So maybe they throw the new ball to Pooja Vastrakar. If they do that, I'll be very keen to see how she goes, because she's done pretty well with the ball, but every time she's come in, it hasn't been a brand new ball that's swinging, that's hooping around corners. So whether India will take that chance is going to be an interesting thing. But again, they're batting first. So, how they'll go with the bat, I suppose, is more important than with the ball right now.
So we've spoken a lot about their pace and this and that, but one point which Ananya has put forward is Sneha Rana deserved to be ahead of Deepti Sharma. Deepti Sharma in today's lineup is slotted at number 8. So she's not batting in the top 7. So the top 7 as is slotted on the team sheet looks like Shafali Verma, Smriti Mandhana, Jemimah Rodrigues, Harmanpreet Kaur, Yastika Bhatia, Richa Ghosh, Pooja Vastrakar. That looks like a very solid top 7. What's your point, Kalyani? Do you feel Deepti, after whatever she's done decently well with the ball, but she hasn't done great with the bat? With the ball, also in internationals this year, she hasn't done pretty good, but she's coming up from the 100, a reason why Jemimah Rodrigues makes her case into that at that number 3 position. What's your take? Do you feel Deepti Sharma deserved to be for her performances in the 100, or do you feel no, Sneha Rana should have got it?
I mean, looking after what Sneha Rana did in the third ODI, just that performance, I know that I can sense that it will put Australia under pressure, because it has been the case with Australian bowlers that they go in their own shell when they know someone has performed well against them. We have seen first international after the World Cup semi-final, the way they bowled against Harmanpreet Kaur was they were still coming out of their shell. So they could have been, as Ananya rightly pointed out, that Sneha Rana has done enough to deserve the place in the playing 11. But looking at Deepti Sharma, I think the way she handled the situation for London Spirit in the 100, especially when others around her were not doing so much in 2-3 matches, she batted well with DeAndre Doughton as well. I think she has deserved this opportunity. If it doesn't go well, probably then they can add Sneha Rana.
So clearly, looks like that's the 11 that India has produced. One question to both of you: there are 4 debutants who are making their debuts today. The 4 players making their debuts today. Who do you think is going to be the shining star out of the 4? Who is going to have their best debut? Hannah Darlington, Talia Magra, Yastika Bhatia, and Renuka Singh Thakur.
Okay, I'm gonna go first so that she doesn't steal it. Because she's had such an amazing series, I'm gonna go Talia Magra. I think she just knows, having made a comeback, she kind of knows what is required to do well at the international stage. She knows her game exceptionally well. So yeah, I'm just gonna go Talia Magra.
And you feel she's going to take the new ball with Ellis Perry?
I don't think she needs to, but look, she can. So probably.
Kalyani, your choice. Are you copying her, or do you have another choice?
I think I'll go with Yastika Bhatia, just because the way she batted in the third ODI again, because there has been this thing that once you put Australia on the back foot, the search for plan B is very it's not difficult for them, right? Earlier it was difficult for them. So whenever Australia is searching for plan B, things can get rough, and there Yastika has an opportunity to cash in and go for hitting out of the park. So I'm backing her today. Let's see how it goes.
So clearly looks like Kalyani wants to support India, and Ananya wants to support Australia. That's how it looks like. But let's come back to one particular pointer which has been haunting India a lot. Before 2 years, when we used to speak that who's going to partner Smriti Mandhana at the top. We got that answer in Shafali Verma. But now that number 3 position looks a lot dicey. We've seen Jemima Rodriguez play at that position. Then we saw Harleen Deol play at that position in South Africa. We've got HARMAN, who's promoted herself at number 3. Now we see Jemima back at number 3. What's going on, and do you feel Jemima now will settle at that position, or are we still going to see a lot of musical chairs happening there?
Look, I think, as Indian fans, you'd hope that Jemima Rodriguez kind of comes in and takes that position as her own. I feel like she's kind of made as she's ideally an opening batter, but she's such a dynamic player that I think she can fit into that number 3 position and make it her own, because she has the ability to change gears very quickly. She has all the gears. She's played in the 100. She understands what it takes to succeed at different positions. So I think I'd hope that India kind of give her a long rope. She has deserved it. I know her performances at the international stage haven't been as consistent as she'd like, but I feel like that they need to stick with her, especially going into a 2023 World Cup. You have enough time to give her that confidence and say, hey, we're going to stick with you till then. You are our number 3, because, you need someone who is slightly dynamic and who can do different things, because T20 cricket at the end of the day is about being flexible, is about adjusting. So I feel like Jemima Rodriguez hopefully is that kind of player. And there isn't much more rotation, because she's definitely much more attacking than Harleen Deol. She has more shots. She's more powerful. Plus, she can play the anchor role. I feel like Harleen Deol at the moment only has 1 gear, and her fastest gear is not good enough for international cricket.
So Ananya clearly will prefer Jemima Rodriguez to potentially seal that spot. Let's not discuss more about that number 3 then. Heading into whatever the Commonwealth Games and the T20 World Cup. Kalyani, for you, let's move towards the match side. We're 10 minutes away from the first ball. What's going to be Australia's approach with the ball? And do you see Elise Perry finishing her quota of 4 overs? Will she bowl her quota of 4 overs?
It's like with Elise Perry, it's like even if she bowls 2 overs, sometimes it's like enough. It has been enough for Australia. She has done that damage before. Like, for example, she did in 2019 Ashes series first 2 matches. Only her spell was perfect enough to kind of damage the England lineup. So even if she doesn't finish her 4 overs, it might not cost them a lot, because now they have someone like Tala Magira, Hannah Darlington, Nicola Carey. So I don't think even if she doesn't finish, it will matter a lot. I think their approach
that's like a very safe answer. I'm asking you a very direct question: 2 overs or 4 overs? Is she going to finish that 4 overs quota?
I don't think she'll finish that quota, just because she's still coming back to the form slowly and steadily. And so she was also not, if I'm not wrong, she didn't bowl much in the New Zealand series as well, and batted at 6. So in 2 matches. So I don't think that will change for her. And I think Australia's approach will be to minimize the damage in the power play, because whenever India has done well against Australia, it has been openers. Whether it was SMRITI Mandana, whether it was Shefali Verma, it has been openers. And otherwise, when they have not done well, India has not done well against Australia, it has been openers doing good, and then there is a collapse. So it has been a case in a tri-series final, it has been a case in a World Cup final, and on many other occasions as well. So there is a case for even if power play doesn't go their way and the openers for India do very well, they know they can take the control of the innings, and they have the bowling power enough to make that happen. So I think the approach is going to be, if possible, manage the damage in the power play, and then try to, as Meg Lanning's strategy always goes, is to, even if you're not getting wicket, if your ball is not getting wicket, you're giving me less than 6 runs in the over, just fine with it. She said that multiple times. So that I don't think there'll be any change in approach.
So taking Kalyani's point further, Ananya, do you feel, we've not spoken a lot about the Indian openers, Shefali and SMRITI. Do you feel if India's openers get out cheaply in the first 2, 3, 4 overs, does India have a chance with the kind of middle order that they have put up?
Look, definitely. I think the players are accomplished enough and have shown that they can, transfer that. I mean, turn that potential into performance. Whether you talk of Yastika Bhatia, whether you talk of Richa Ghosh, and Jemima Rodriguez and Harmanpreet Kaur have had success in the T20 format. And you have some young, very dynamic players lower down as well. Pooja Vastrikar has found some mojo with the ball. You hope that she transfers that into performance with the bat as well. So I think they have the names on paper. At the end of the day, with India, it's always been whether they're able to actually turn that into performance on the field. I don't think there's ever been a shortage of talent in India. We have plenty of that. It's just about how they turn up on the day and kind of whether they're able to switch on under pressure. And what we've seen of them on this tour so far is that the answer is yes. They are able to turn up under pressure and put in some valuable performances. So you hope that if the openers don't do a bulk of the damage, that the middle order are able to. But look, let's be fair, they're not going to do as much damage as the opening pair would. So, while they may recover, I think if India are to get 170, it has to be, the onus is on the opening pair, because they are the major firepower. Lower down, I know Richa Ghosh is wonderful, Pooja Vastrikar is wonderful, but if India have to really push Australia, it has to be the opening pair that at least gets them off to a 40-45 run start.
Basically, Ananya clearly says, yes, India clearly has that firepower even in the middle. But if the openers don't do well, it's going to be difficult for India to push for a 170, 160. That's how important Shafali and Smriti's pair is going to be for India.
I'm saying that 1 minute. I'm saying that more because for India to recover from the damage of the openers will take a few overs, which takes those overs out of play. So that's the only reason I'm saying that.
Okay, I'll take that particular point. Over to predictions time. What's going to be India's score? Kalyani is going to go first. Okay.
140 around. Just because two reasons. Just because it's openers will go hard, and they just love Australian bowling attack so much that they have done exceptionally well against this bowling attack, even against the bowling attack that had Jess Jonason and Megan Street in the mix. So I think they'll go hard. I'm not sure. I completely agree with what Ananya said, that the middle order will take time to adjust, and because most of them, I think all of them will be facing Hannah Darlington for the first time. And so it will be difficult for them if she decides to, Midland decides to bowl her in the middle overs. And so I'm guessing it will be, and even if it is 140, it will be difficult for Australia if the top two, if this is a Sri Lanka-like situation, because you always need to have that kind of situation in mind that it could happen to Australia any day.
Ananya, your prediction. She says openers are going to perform well for India, but still India is going to reach that 140 mark. Courtesy Hannah Darlington.
Look, I'm going to be slightly more bold and say India will get to 157. Just a random number that's come to my head, 157. I'm usually wrong, so either they're going to get much more than that or they're going to get bowled out for 120, but that's, whichever side you're supporting, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm hoping that India get to 157. And like Kalyani said, I think the openers may get off to a bit of a rapid start. But I feel like that last push will come from Vastrikar and Richa Ghosh.
So there's 140, there's 157. Let's see who comes close to that particular score. Will India surpass that 157, maybe reach that 170, 180 mark? We don't know. Let's tune into the match in about 5 minutes time. That was us from the Outside View live at Women's Cricket Zone. We'll catch up you in the mid-match show.